Okay, the meeting of November 24th will come to order. Would you all please rise to salute the flag? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Would you like to take the roll?
Mrs. McFarland.
Here.
Mrs. Cluley.
Here.
Mrs. Esky.
Here.
Mr. Borai.
Yes, ma'am, here.
Mr. Hart.
Here.
Our alternate, Ms. Hager.
Here.
And our solicitor, Mr. McLennan.
Here.
Okay. Who would like to read our zoning hearing board statement this evening?
I'll read it.
Joyce?
The zoning hearing board will give all interested parties an opportunity to ask questions and testify in connection with the applications being heard tonight. After a witness for the applicant completes testimony, you will be given an opportunity to ask questions of that witness. In addition, after an applicant has completed its case, you will also be given an opportunity to testify, which will require you to be sworn in as a witness. If you wish to participate in the hearings on an application, you should complete the entry of appearance form, which will be provided to you by the zoning officer, who's sitting at the table next to our court reporter. We ask your cooperation in maintaining silence during the hearing so that both the board and the court reporter can hear the testimony of the witnesses. We also ask that all cell phones be turned off. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. All right, we're going to go right to the agenda, starting with item Z 1413, J&K Excavation. Our solicitor has...
J&K Excavating of 730 Grandview Avenue, Norristown, PA, was a continued hearing from September 25th. As the board may remember, it was continued midstream during the hearing, and then a request was made for additional continuance from the October meeting to the November meeting. Then between the October meeting and the November meeting, I received a request from Mr. David M. Shafkowitz, representing J&K Excavating, requesting an additional continuance, but to continue it from the November meeting, not to the December meeting, but to the January meeting. After a polling of the board, it was determined that that was unreasonable, and instead I communicated to Mr. Shafkowitz that the hearing would take place tonight, and as a result of that, I received a letter from Mr. Shafkowitz dated November 20th, requesting that the application of J&K Excavating be withdrawn. And I just wanted to note that for the record, and that's the status of that particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, second item on the agenda is Z 14-15, Trooper Road Enterprises. Shall we explain all this, or do?
I can read this if you'd like, so it's
Yeah.
of record, and that way it's preserved. Z14-15 is Trooper Road Enterprises. I'm sorry, Paula, if I go too fast, you'll say time out, slow down, whatever works for you. Hey, you. 14 Ballagamingo Road, Conshohocken, PA 19428. The DBA is Taco Bell. The applicant is appealing the interpretation of Section 143-112 by the township that a reduction in the impervious coverage from 77.3% to 77.6% requires zoning relief. The standard is 30%. The applicant also requests a variance from 143-141B to allow for 2 signs per street frontage and signage on all 4 facades. The applicant proposes 2 signs comprising the words Taco Bell on one sign and the logo of the bell on the other sign on each side of the building. In addition, the applicant is asking for a variance to Section 143-141A to permit a pylon sign on each of the street frontages at a height of 28 feet and a square footage of 100.1 square feet each. Lastly, the applicant is requesting a variance from Section 141.A to permit 2 pylon signs and 1 monument sign The monument sign is in support of a township recommendation to construct a sign welcoming people to the township. The parcel ID is 43-00-15109-004, and the property is located at 1165 South Trooper Road, Lower Providence Township, in the Highway Commercial Zoning District. With that application as,
Keith, before you go any farther, just for
Yes.
the record, it says in here it's an impervious coverage reduction from 77.3 to 77.6, so that's not a reduction.
Correct.
It's actually 76.6. This is just a typo. So, just for the record, that is.
thank you
Yes,
for that.
right.
In my zeal to read it, I didn't notice that. But as we can see, or as probably has been noted, it is now approximately 7:43 in the evening on November 24th. We waited in the ante-room to see if the applicant would appear, and unfortunately, the applicant has not appeared, and we're not certain as to why, because at the previous meeting, it was announced from the bench that the next hearing would be November 24th. Some items that they had addressed in that hearing on October the 23rd had been presented, but not everything is my recollection or understanding of what happened. And they were to come back tonight, but for whatever reason, they have not. So with that, we're not sure why they didn't come back, but that is what we're here to ask the board, what its pleasure is with respect to the application, and whether the applicant, if they contact us hereafter, what will happen. So with that, what's the board's pleasure?
I think there might have been a little confusion because tonight's a Monday night and we always meet on a Thursday night.
And the reason that we're not meeting this Thursday is because, of
It's
course, because it's
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
But maybe that just didn't enter their minds. You know they're all men, so.
Madam
The
Chair,
next time you run for office, Nancy, I'm sure you're going to have all the male vote.
Madam Chairperson, all somebody has to do is go back and look at the videos from that meeting. You do speak very good English, and in that meeting, you did say that our meeting would be the 24th because of Thanksgiving. It's cut and dry. I will make a motion that we grant the continuance until the 22nd of December, 3 days before Christmas. And I also like to say that if they don't show up on the 22nd, there will be no future continuances. Amen.
I would like to modify that.
Well, why not?
Good.
I would just like to add that if there's any advertising costs that they would bear, same, if we have to re-advertise. And I'm not sure, Tom, it's fair to say they forever can never come back before us. I would object to that.
Well, what did we do with the first one we just heard? I mean, what, I don't understand, Joyce. We just sat there and said we're not giving somebody a continuance until January, and you're saying, okay, fine. I mean, what's the difference between an excavator and a Taco Bell?
We don't have an understanding of why they're not here this evening. That's the difference, in my opinion. If it was confusion with the date, then I think we have to be gracious about it. I think the other applicants stated why they were not available, and therefore, they already came to a conclusion in their letter as to why they could not come back, and could not come back, and could not come back.
You got
We don't
a,
know why our applicant is not here tonight, therefore I would be more.
Why don't we simply
Personal.
make a motion that Keith contact the applicant and the attorney and make the decision as to whether the reason they're not here tonight is due to confusion, and if it is, authorize him to reschedule it for the 22nd and contact the board if there's any issues that he thinks we need to know about before that date. And again, of course, that any expenses that are incurred through re-advertising would be picked up by the applicant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, how do we handle
your
that
motion?
as an addition to the
That's my
motion?
motion.
Well,
We
there's
have to get
competing
rid of that
motions. Is that going to be a
motion
friendly amendment to Mr. Borai's
It's a friendly
motion?
amendment to Mr.
But his
Borai's.
motion wasn't seconded, so.
Yeah, we
it
didn't have a
dies.
second.
Well, neither's mine, so.
So
Well,
there's
I'll
two
second.
outstanding motions.
Well, I'll second Bob's motion.
Okay.
so what we have is we have a multi-million-dollar company saying, okay, fine, you can have anything you want, but a guy wants to go down the street that's a resident, we say, no way. I'm not picking sides.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find out where we
All
sit,
right,
Madam
here's where
Chairman.
we sit. Your motion fails for lack of a second.
My motion failed.
Okay. Bob has a motion, Kathy seconded. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor of Bob's motion, say aye. Aye.
No.
Kathy, what'd you say?
I said aye.
Okay.
I said no.
4 ayes and 1 no. So you will contact them?
Yes, I'll find out what transpired.
Thank you.
Okay.
We done?
What else do we have tonight?
There's nothing else on the agenda that I see, Madam Chair.
Now,
No,
I
but
did-
Nancy, what I'd like to do, though, I'd like to say, if somebody wants to put a motion on the floor, I'm gonna be quiet
Okay.
until somebody else says something, because every time I seem to put a motion on this floor, I get second guessed on it, I get overrode on it and everything else. So
Tom?
I'm gonna sit in my nice easy chair, keep my mouth shut, and then I'll just open up as I go along. Thank you.
I make a motion, we adjourn?
I got a second.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would you like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, Nancy? You're on television.
Particularly the mail vote.
I wish everyone a joyous, fruitful Thanksgiving.
We've already adjourned.
And shall we adjourn ourselves? We're
Yes,
adjourned.
we're
We're
adjourned.
adjourned.
I think I've got you on camera.
Thank you, everyone.